God, let's start making plans right here. We must be clear in our minds, clouded in emotion, clear in our thoughts, clear on our intentions. For years, eyes closed and ears close to groups like has been spreading. Mention of intention, change the people living here. We must be clear in our minds, clouded in emotion, clear in our thoughts, clear on our intentions.
Good afternoon. There. Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Irish Durian. I am the Irish Durian. Hey. So, how's everybody? How are you, Colin? How you doing? Sorry for keeping you waiting. I will put in the description, or I will put in the title, the time that I come on the screen to chat afterwards. So, yeah, I'm gonna, unless we say we get a few people on here, and Colin, chat away, man. Say whatever you want there. Talk about whatever you want to talk about. And while you're doing that, I'll just be dark screen. Good. It's gone now. It's gone. I have removed the darkness. Okay, so until a bit of a chat gets going, I'm going to read one or two excerpts from Bruce Lee's Striking Thoughts. Yeah. So, how has he got this indexed? So yeah, he's got like part one, and I know again. I listened to the mic. Yeah, it is. I listened to the mic there yesterday. It's not ideal. It's still boxy. It's still slightly too much on the low end, not enough treble, all the rest, because it's just a mic with no blocking this character call the end. We'll see, the master. We shall see. So the story is that yeah, he's indexed in part one on first principles, as you can see there, and each chapter has things like, goes from one, life, existence, time, the root, the now, reality, the laws, interdependency, the void, on death. And then he goes on to part two, which is called being unhuman. The human being, action, Wu Wei, natural action, the mind, thinking, concepts, abstracting, knowledge, ideas, perception. These are all the individual chapters. And the part three is on matters of existence. Part four is on achievement. Part five is on art and artists. Part five is on personal liberation. Part seven is the process of becoming. And part eight is on ultimate final principles. And there's a few forwards here by a few different people. Recollections on the thought of Bruce Lee. The first one is by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the basketball player. I think it was the LA Lakers, wasn't it? I think he was in the LA Lakers. You have Sterling Siliphant, Bob Bramer, student of Bruce Lee, Steve McQueen, James Coburn. All right, so if I take one, we'll say on first principles. So let's see. Take number 7, okay? Reality, page 15. Where are we here now? 15, 14, 15. Yeah, second. Hang on a second. Reality, right? Okay, how long is that? Okay. Let's see how much of this there is. Yeah, here's an interesting one. Commonality of all physical objects. All physical objects are the same. Therefore, the knowledge of training the existence of a physical object is enough. Therefore, the knowledge of knowing the existence of a physical object is enough. You know, make of that what you will. Formal reality equals objective reality. There must be more or as much formal reality as objective reality. I'm not really sure what his definition of formal reality is, though. You know, matter and the need for security. In science, we try to find ultimate matter, but the more we split up matter, the more we find other matter. We find movement, and movement equals energy. Movement impact energy with no thing. things came about more or less by man's need for security. You can manipulate a thing. You can play fitting games with it. These concepts, these somethings can be put together into something else. Something, in inverted commas, is a thing. So even an abstract noun becomes a thing. Abstract noun becomes a thing. So I think there's a little bit of subjectivism, a lot of subjectivism going on there. And I don't know whether he was influenced by postmodern thinking. I suppose we would have to read through the book completely to find that out. Reality is being itself. Reality is being itself. It is being itself in becoming itself. Reality in its isness, the isness of a thing. Thus, isness is the meaning. Having freedom in its primary sense, not limited by attachments, confinements, partialization, or complexities. I suppose this kind of thinking is very much influenced by Eastern thought, you know. I suppose by Confucianism, by Taoism, and Buddhism, you know. It's a different school of thought. It's a school of thought that was quite prevalent, brought into, we say, the Western world during the 60s. And I don't know how much of it. I'm kind of at the moment in my own understanding of reality tending to, like for the longest time I thought like this. For the longest time I thought along the lines of subjectivism and along the lines of postmodern thinking. You know, that everything is one's own truth and one's own subjective understanding. But I want to actually now more go into the understanding and the embracing of objective reality, which is the fact that there is an objective reality with which to work with and to engage with and to make an adventure with, you know, because if everything is only within your own world and, you know, it's all subjective, well then, you know, it's very masturbatory, you know, it's very narcissistic, it's very all of the self, you know. And I think that a lot of the issues we have with the Western world right now are arising from that. I think that a lot of the problems, a lot of the inversions that have been allowed to happen and have a lot of the deceptions that have had the wool pulled over the eyes of people living in Western countries is happening because of this type of subjectification of reality. And maybe that's what this book is about. I don't know. But I myself am trying to more embrace the truth of reality as is out there. You know, what I mean by that is that's a book. Okay, that's an agreed upon definition. We agree that this is a book. It's kind of like the whole Irish thing. You know, the fact that we say an Irish person is an Irish person in this moment in time, and is the meeting place of different ethnicities from previous times. And we agree on that. We agree that that is the point in time where those ethnicities meet within a geographical location in one point in time. So that's an objective reality. Like to then use other, we say, signifiers and definitions of the component parts of that to dismantle that is to engage almost solely in a subjective understanding and not an objective reality, you know. So Bruce Lee's Wisdom for Daily Living could be dismantling objective reality, but we'll see. We'll see how it is. Like a lot of you know, like Buddhism to me, like I did study it for a while, and it is very much a lot about navel gazing, you know. But you know, there has to be an objective push of the self out into the world in order to make life better for the self and for other selves, you know? So that is an objective. It's an objective, you know? Um, and to solely kind of like keep going, I must discover myself, I must discover myself. It's very narcissistic and it's very self-oriented all the time. I mean, we exist in relation to other people, you know? We exist in relation to our families, our communities, our loved ones, the ones that don't love us. We exist as beings in relation to those, you know, like, so as they say, you know, like no man, no woman is an island. You know, the honing of the self is not done solely with the self. It's it's uh it's it's done in relation to the world you live in. So that's to me, like I know, like I once had it, like I have a friend who is a moral philosopher. We were having this discussion once, and he was saying to me, I was telling him that, you know, where isn't where two objective realities meet. Like people, like I was all the time trying to, what would I say, convince people in the real world that there is an objective reality. So they say to me, no, there's not, it's all subjective, and you know, it is what you make of it and all the rest of it. And I say, yeah, but like if I kick you in the ball, if I swiftly give you a kick in the nuts with the tip of my toes, is that not where my reality meets yours? You know, and you know, it would make them think for you know, that there's a reality between the two of us where one meets the other. And I was saying this to my moral philosopher friend, and he of course said that there's another theory for that, which is that your subjective, how did he put it? Your subjective interpretation of your objective reality meets the other person's subjective interpretation of their objective reality. And it's like, oh, okay, you know, like you can't win. You know, you just can't win. There's like, you can keep this up until infinitum. You know, it's infinitum. You know, but and then it lines and anyone on Facebook go to search and stuff. Force vaccination called down to see but I'm being pinned down. I can't say it for some reason. Good stuff. Right. Okay. Um, so, oh, my banning thumbs, it's just itching. They're just itching. So, so yeah, sorry for keeping you waiting. I now what 22 minutes. I'm not sure what time I came on. Um, yeah, I feel like I'm streaming. I'm watching and being held down by a dozen people. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to put these two guys in a timeout, and two guys are probably the same guy, but I'm just not in the mood for it today. I want some genuine input, and we'll do that. And you too. Okay, Colin. That's the same guy with two different accounts, I believe. Um, put in the timeout. So like a naughty little child, put in a timeout. So anything you want to add? Let's say I'm not sure what time I come on. I'll give it with say 10 minutes on from now, so that will be okay. Yeah. Taking it easy. I just boiled the kettle. I'll just be over there filling my cup and back in a second. If you think of something, say, throw it in the chat and I will do my best to give you feedback on it. 2 seconds. I got my good coffee back. right note, finding the right note, finding the right note. Oh, 5 minutes. Okay. We get timed out for 5 minutes. Is that it? Is that all? Okay. Can I not set that time out for longer? Ah. Jimmy Johnny, how you doing? Yeah, well, I had the same thing, Jimmy Johnny. I had the same thing. I had the same thing. So yeah. Oh, sorry. Hang on. Put the mic on. The yeah, there are places in Cork where they're like, I don't know how it's going to pan out, man. Bruce Lee was a big fan of many styles of martial arts. He was, Colin. He was indeed. Didn't he develop his own? He did Jeet Kune Do, wasn't it? Jeet Kune Do. Yeah. Again, it was all strikes and all the rest of it, you know. As opposed, like, you'd wonder when it comes to, say, I'll be back around to your comment in a second. Sorry, guys, I got to put your stuff up on the screen. I keep forgetting. I'll be back around to you about that, Jimmy John. You give me 5 seconds, 5 minutes to talk about this. You wonder, though, like, when it comes to the real world, like mixed martial arts, UFC, or anything like that, like, if a big guy runs at you and just wraps himself around you and starts wrestling with you and putting you in headlocks and stuff like that, you wonder how effective something like Jeet Kune Do is in quick punches and kicks. You know, that a big guy runs at you, his body mass comes at you and puts your head in a lock and pushes you to the ground. I mean, something like Jeet Kune Do, I'd imagine, would be very effective, you know. Anyway, we can get back to that again. Jimmy Johnny, yes, I mean, I find, like, it's very, I really don't want to wear one, you know, and I've said that I have an exemption in place to get around that, and to deal with that. But there are places now which are being very, what would you say? They're being very stringent about it, and you know, they're not taking no for an answer. Now, you could push it. You know, you could, if you could. I know how you could push it if you wanted to. But if you give in once, even no matter how hard they come at you, we say, if you give in once, that's it. You've conceded, and you can't go back on that. You know, so there's places now where I did shop, that I'd really pushed to the last not to wear a mask, and then was really came down on, like, in a big way, by the shop assistant, and I conceded, you know. But you can't come back from that. Well, I suppose you can if you really wanted to. You could. You'd really have to work at it, though. I have set shops that I go into now where I still don't wear the mask in. They expect me not to wear the mask in. They haven't questioned me about wearing the mask in, and I tend to continue to shop in that shop, which is really unfortunate because, you know, I just want to keep mask refusal. Strange that. I'll just keep timing these fuckers out. So at the end, but fair enough, I won't be commenting on these videos in future. Gluck. We'll see. The master, if we'll see. If I get rhetoric again, there will be a finality to it. Okay, so it just depends. You know, it depends on what your emphasis is, what your intention is. All right, so let's see. Yeah, so in relation to that, it's disheartening. I do find it very disheartening. It's a bit like, you know, you know, at the age I am, I expect to go into town to engage in life the normal way that I normally would for the last how many years of my life. And I don't expect to have to cover my face. I don't expect to cover my nose or my mouth, just because somebody else is frightened of losing their business. And I find it disheartening, to see grown men standing there, not saying anything, not doing anything about it, and continue putting masks over their faces, you know. So yeah, I do find it disheartening, and I find it disturbing. That life is going that way. I would imagine, like, do they not realize that they're going to lose their business anyway? Like, why not just not enforce illegal tyrannical laws? Why not just do that? I mean, again, I was talking about this on a previous video, or second last video, or the last video. I was saying, that these people can get up at 4 and 5 in the morning, work the entire day through, and they're wired for that. They're built for that. But it seems that when it comes to actually critically thinking something through, they're not able to discern the fact that if they continue down this road, they're going to eventually lose business. The footfall will become so low, and it'll become untenable that they can continue to stay open. And if enough businesses end up with this kind of result, well, then the economy itself won't be sustainable, because the amount of economic and financial support for the different businesses that support each other will become won't be. It'll go below a certain threshold. I'm guessing, So that's my opinion on it. Throw more in there, lads. Whatever you're thinking. Right, so we'll read another one or two out of the book here. On death. Don't neglect life by worrying about death. I don't know what is the meaning of death, but I am not afraid to die. And I go on, not non-stop, going forward, in brackets, with life. Even though I, Bruce Lee, may die someday without fulfilling all of my ambitions, I will have no regrets. I did what I wanted to do and what I've done. I've done with sincerity and the best of my ability. You can't expect much more from life. The way of death. Through the ages, the end for heroes is the same as for ordinary men. They all died and gradually faded away in the memory of man. Acceptance of death. The round of summer and winter becomes a blessing the moment we give up the fantasy of eternal spring. These are good. I like these ones. I like these statements on death. The art of dying. Like everyone else, you want to learn the way to win, but never to accept the way to lose. To accept defeat, to learn to die, is be liberated from it. Once you accept, you are free to flow and to harmonize. Fluidity is the way to an empty mind. You must free your ambitions, your ambitious mind, and learn the art of dying. On separating from dear friends. You can almost hear him speaking, can't you? The way he used to speak. On separating from dear friends. Here now forever our lives must part. My path leads there and yours another way. I know not where tomorrow's path may lead, nor what the future holds. You speak like that, didn't he? Did I get it? Did I get it a little bit? No? On the need to remember. Remembrance is the only paradise out of which we cannot be driven away. Pleasure is the flower that fades. Remembrance is the lasting perfume. Remembrances last longer than present realities. I have preserved blossoms for many years, but never fruit. That's a good one. I like that last one. I like it so much, I'm going to read it again. On the need to remember. Remembrance is the only paradise out of which we cannot be driven away. Pleasure is the flower that fades. Remembrance is the lasting perfume. Remembrances last longer than present realities. I have preserved blossoms for many years, but never fruit. Hey, Jamie! I'm reading some good passages from Striking Thoughts, Bruce Lee's Striking Thoughts. Wisdom for Daily Life, Bruce Lee. So, yeah, I hope you caught those. If you haven't come back around and fast forward up to this point. So he's got ones here on being human. So he's got his chapters are kind of named, you know. This one is called The Human Being. So identify with your humanity. You know how I like to think of myself as a human being. I'm becoming him now, you know. The function and duty of a human being. The function and duty of a human being, a quality human being, that is the sincere and honest development of potential and self-actualization. One additional comment. The energy from within and the physical strength from your body can guide you toward accomplishing your purpose in life and to actually act on actualizing your duty. Now, maybe I'm just, if I read it too much like him, I think if I read it too much like him, I think it might actually have you focus on the sound of him rather than actually what's being said. Jimmy Johnny, you off then? Okay, take care, man. Thanks for coming on. And I'm not going to stay too long on this one because I have things to do as well. But you know, a few of the lads are here, and sure, we'll throw out a few more of these, and any comments any things that the lads want to talk about, we'll throw in those for the next little bit as well. So maybe come back to this one later. Okay, take it easy, fella. So, yep. Let's see. Human beings are integrators, or should I go with the function and duty? The function and duty of a human being. Did I just read that? Yeah, this is kind of a good one. The function and duty of a human being. The function and duty of a human being, a quality human being, that is the sincere and honest development of potential and self-actualization. One additional comment. The energy from within and the physical strength from your body can guide you toward accomplishing your purpose in life and to actually act on actualizing your duty to yourself. These are interesting things to think about, you know. These are. he's got like in the human being, he's got there's one little passage here on the Dominican Republic. Does anybody know what his connection to the Dominican Republic was? So I'll read that one out. On the Dominican Republic. I like the country and the people. The Dominicans have the simplicity of a real human being. There is not so much hypocrisy like in big cities. Ooh, that's an interesting phrase. There you go. Hey, interesting. So, and there's lots of them like that. You know, they fill up the page. If I can just angle it right, they fill up the page like that. You know. So we do not analyze, we integrate. So he says in the start of the sentence, human beings are integrators. We do not analyze, we integrate. What does that mean? So would it be like we experience something, and we take this betwixt. This is Striking Thoughts. Striking Thoughts. Bruce Lee's Wisdom for Daily Living, written by Bruce Lee. So, and it's his book of philosophy. So I'm not throwing any spanners for now. I can handle it myself. But thanks for the offer. Cheers. The human goal is to actualize oneself. So human beings do not analyze, we integrate. So But surely we analyze as well, you know? I mean, I do a fair whack of analyzing. But by integration, does he mean that we take the information that we've just realized, and the realization is the integration, so that when we experience something and we come to a realization about it, that we integrate it, it's now part of our being, as opposed to just being analysis, you know? Okay, so I'll take another random one from further up along. So yeah, so in part 7, there is on personal liberation, number 58, detachment. Or no, yeah, 57, systems. So I want to go to page 150 and talk about systems. So the first opening sentence out of it is, to formalize something is to make progress impossible. So formality could be a hindrance to progress. This is applicable to everything, including philosophy. The founder of any branch must be more ingenious than the common man. However, if his achievement is not carried on by his disciples of the same ingenuity, then things will only become formalized and get stuck in a cul-de-sac, whereby breakthrough and progress will be almost impossible. Now, isn't that a fascinating statement? A fascinating sentence. And I want to read it again, okay? To formalize something is to make progress impossible. So I think what he's talking about there is ideology. So you have, we say, a fluid interpretation of the truth. You know, that's what I talk about on here a lot, right? The truth. And that you work with the truth and you adapt to the truth, you deal with the truth. And the truth needs to be spoken as it is. And this is how you hone your moral compass. You hone it by speaking the truth. This is why I talk about objective reality and not subjective reality. And that by speaking the truth as something is, it then stays fluid, and it doesn't become a formalization. So to formalize something is to make progress impossible. Formality could be a hindrance to progress. This is applicable to everything, including philosophy. The founder of any branch must be more ingenious than the common man. However, if his achievement is not carried on by his disciples with the same ingenuity, then things will become more formalized and get stuck in a cul-de-sac, whereby breakthrough and progress will be almost impossible. So, you know, he's kind of talking about, we say, that the people who of a country to popularly have huge respect for Jim Dawson and managers. So, okay, this is you should discuss Jim Dawson and Nick Griffin's new book. Why Jim Dawson? Has Jim Dawson written a book with Nick Griffin, or I thought Nick Griffin just wrote a book? I didn't know he co-authored it with Jim Dawson. It's called Deus Vult, isn't it? I don't understand. I didn't know that he had co-written it with Jim Dawson. It's not a proper book. You should discuss. What do you mean it's not a proper book? A book is just, what's your definition of a book? A book is many papered pages with harder pages each end, with lots of writing in it. I mean, that's a book. So, betwixt I've sent off for it, contrary to popular belief, I have huge respect for Jim Dawson. Met him years back, a good guy. Okay. Why is that contrary to popular belief? I don't know. I've only seen Jim Dawson once or twice on YouTube. I think he has a channel. It's to do with the Crusaders or something, isn't it? It's to do with the anyway. Yeah, he seems very chirpy kind of guy, very very astute. Co-wrote, did he? Okay. Well, we'll see. Interesting. Yeah, I think Nick Griffin is a very interesting guy. He was interviewed last night on Unwashed live stream. And basically, he was just reiterating the things I've been saying here, which is to become self-sustainable, get a moral order, and develop community. That's all I heard. And I thought he put it very well. Exactly. I mean, and Nick Griffin, if anybody has experience with say the powers that be, with political power, he makes the point and he makes the claim that it's impossible to break through that system because they have holes across the media, they have holes across the political spectrum, and so the only way is to actually adhere to have strong in-group preference, grow your own food, self-sustainability, get land, have large families. Everything I said up until I watched that video yesterday evening, you know? Yeah. Do you mean like they're one and the same person, Jamie? Or are you saying from Bruce Lee to Jim Dawson on this live stream? Let's see. Betwixt does an impression of Jim on Traitor FM, not a well-known channel, and drinking wine as usual. Nick was a homosexual, but he's reformed. See, I don't know if any of this is true, and you know, I don't really care, to be quite honest. I mean, for me, it's what I think is objectively true and what objectively works. And I think that are those things which he was talking about last night on Nick Cotton's YouTube channel, Unwashed. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. Very good live stream, very good interview. And he just talks about, say, how the BNP was, say, undermined in every way. How different organizations get hijacked. How the media, how say UKIP was pushed in the media while undermining the BNP. Very good interview. I'd say go have a look. Go have a look and make up your own mind. I do think that what he said made complete sense. He's a very articulate man. He's very, very good at words, very good at expressing the ideas. I think it made for very good viewing. You know, he's done a lot of thinking about it, and I would suggest watching it. Yep, absolutely. But all right, so where are we here now? We're 47 minutes in, and I know I took about 10 minutes off from the start, 10, 15 minutes. So somebody throw in something there, and we'll have a little bit of a one or two chinwag about it. I'll be reading. I'll be reading one or two more from Striking Thoughts with Bruce Lee. Again, under the heading of systems, it says, it is not simply denial. Do not deny the classical approach as a reaction, for you will have created another pattern in which you will be trapped. I think that comes from the philosophy of what they call no mind, you know, in Eastern thinking. It's something which is very much pushed in with, say, Buddhism. Some Buddhist teachings more than other, whereby emptiness of being in no mind is an expression. It's not used in the same way that we use those expressions in Western thought. It is an expression to articulate a certain way of being and a certain way of outlook and perception of the world, you know. And I believe that what he's talking about here is that if you formalize thinking again as opposed to what he's describing here as a classical approach, as a reaction, you will get trapped by that way of thinking again. So again, he's saying to not be trapped. I believe what he means is that you have a state of no mind where I think you're supposed to be like an empty vessel cup where you let experience and your experience of the world flow through and not be stopped by thinking. There's a lot to be said for that, of course, as well. That is a good way to be in the world. But you see, I think a lot of people who define ways of being like this, what they miss out on is that there are many different types of beings in the world. There are many different people are wired differently, and they're going to approach this kind of stuff from their own base metal. And that it will lend itself better to certain types of wiring, certain types of base metals than others. And there are certain types of people who are wired in a way that they will never be able to engage in no mind or meditation or whatever. They're just not wired for it, And that's just the way the world is. I mean, the world is made up of, this is how we have the world that we have, with all its amazing creations and amazing people in it and amazing expressions of life. That comes about because there is such a true diversity of being, a true diversity of people. So right, Nick and Jim destroy the BNP by asset stripping. So not necessarily. So that's where we're at today. I'm not a little bit as focused as I was yesterday, but and I'm sorry that I left it so long at the start to come on. But I'm glad that all the paid bots hung on in there, and then the true subs came in after that, So, all right, I think I'm going to leave it there, guys, and we'll talk again tomorrow. Jamie, was it Twixt, Jimmy Johnny was in. Well, this column. Who else? That was it for this morning. The others, the others are just the paid bots. I don't know whether to just send them scarping. What to do there? Just lay waste before me. Not really sure. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I hope you enjoyed the little bits of readings from the Striking Thoughts of Bruce Lee. Might do a bit more of the Hagakure tomorrow. I have there's two books in there I'd like to bring out and just read out a few excerpts from. Their books from the Enlightenment thinkers, David Hume and John Locke. And I just read a few of those and see what you think of those as well. Take care. All right, we'll talk tomorrow.